the distinction between professionalism and activism, because I tend to be more of an activist type too, and I have the same sentimentality as you do with regard to intuitions about the behavior of people in the situation, which is I'm more about results than taking care of my professional interests, which is not very intelligent, to be honest. I don't regard it as a particularly smart way to play. And it's like the issue is what's best for the social environment, or I guess is how am I adding value to this society? What's the best way for me to add value? And enriching myself is not high up on the list, unfortunately. It doesn't advance society very quickly. So it's like the action that occurs as a result of my behaviors is more interesting to me than the
following the professional dictums,
the money falling into my pocket, which is like, man, that is not a smart way to play. But it's like it is just not smart, man. It's like
as I've been told by multiple ex-girlfriends, you just care too much.
I got nothing to say. I'm not gonna comment on ex-girlfriends, man. It's like I understand. Wait. I won't comment about it because your mom says the same damn thing, doesn't she? Which is quite an interesting little bit. I like a character flaw.
Sounds like just a total coincidence.
It sounds like a character flaw. I don't know. I just saying. I'm like what's that mean? Care too much, man? Like.
How do you not like,
what does that mean?
Like a binary. Either you care or you don't care.
Oh, there's an interesting premise. It's not on a spectrum.
Like, sure, you can change the intensity of your care, but you're either apathetic or you're not.
Oh,
and it's like, yes, I get excited and passionate because I love ideas and I love people and I love debate and I love figuring out what's right and wrong. And I love like really getting into the, like, why do you think this? Why do I think this? Like one of my favorite things to do online is to just watch debates.
Really?
I just love watching. They don't really do any long form debates anymore, unfortunately. It's more discussions now with like-minded folks. There's less like adversarial style debating, but like you watch YouTube about, after about 5 or 7 years in the past, there's a lot more debate type content.
Well, I don't. Maybe that's reflecting the polarization of our society, which is to say we just compartmentalize into our little silos, right? And don't mix with the other team because it's like too irritating. Which is it's funny.
Systemic, societal, social. I mean, just in every adjective and descriptor and predicate you can put before it, it is a giant cluster in any regard.
Well, it's troubling because it's like the issue is this. It's like you're not able to enter into conversations because it becomes too heated too quickly, right? And it's like it's beyond disagreeable, right? Because it's like I don't merely disagree with you. I am passionate about my disagreement because you are like your demon, right?
Right. It's like I see this all the time with acquaintances and even family sometimes, or whatever. It's that they take an intellectual position about the logic of something or the rightness or wrongness, or like you said, it's like kind of Socratic in an effect. And then the assumption is that I'm denying, for example, the existence of transgender people, or you hate the poor people, or, you hate Black people. It's like, no. What are you talking about? I'm trying to decide whether passing this type of legislation after 5 years has a positive or negative effect on the stated end. Saying that this is causing worse results doesn't mean I hate the people it's trying to help.
Right.
I'm looking at the situation and going, cause, effect.
Right.
Effect bad, cause didn't do what it was supposed to. That's not a judgment on the existence of anybody. It's not personal. It's like none of us have a fully, no person's moral or intellectual system is free of subjective.
That's right. Biases
or whatever. I don't like bias is too strong. It's like human beings just have different temperature settings.
It's like,
on their moral values.
You know, like your preferences, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's interesting because it's like to me there's isn't and should and shouldn't, and they're two different axes.
Right. I say is and ought.
That's it. That's the two different axes, and it's like the ought is a preference. It's like election, you know, elective function, and you get to choose what you prefer, and it's like the argument over what is actually occurring is the thing, and it is it's a funny thing, but strongly emotionally attached to their viewpoint to the point where they cannot discuss something rationally. Does that make sense?
I mean, because is all right. So what happens a lot of the time, and it's not just one side or the other, left or right. It's like people have a very hard time differentiating between is and oughts. And a lot of times people present oughts as is, and sometimes people present is as oughts, and sometimes an is can be an ought or vice versa. But people generally have a hard time.
Well, I just want to make
realizing when the other's doing that. Sorry?
I want to make it clear for the audience that is and isn't is what actuality, factual nature, what is in fact existing.
Like, for example, I'll put it into very polarizing and easy to understand terms. An is would be a question of when does life begin? An ought is when can we terminate the pregnancy? Those are two different questions, but they bear in on the same question.
But so I regard it as the ought as a moral axis. It's what.
Yeah.
And it's not so much preference as your intuitions will guide you in that regard, right?
Right.
But is and isn't is factual and provable and it's intersubjectively verifiable. How about that? Whereas your ought is subjectively independent function.
Yes, and so people will confuse someone saying this is the way the word works or whatever. This is what the word means, and then they take that to mean an ought because of the necessary logical consequences or whatever. It's like, I'm not making the ought claim. I am just making a factual description. And if that affects your views of the oughts or, you know, whatever, that's on you. But it's not a problem with me. It's not that I'm a bad person. It's describing the is. Now, there are times where ises and oughts get confused. For example, if you say the free market is the best system.
That is not a proper is.
That's an ought.
Yes.
Now you could try to make an abstracted case that it's an is, but that's not eminently provable. Otherwise, it would be not under dispute like gravity. It's just not the methodological tools to measure economic systems, all that stuff. You just can't. There's no way to definitively prove, like, you know, testing the voltage in your
right
outlet.
It's not simple. It's not simple. And it's like the interesting function there is like I run into this argument with regard to economics. People blame capitalism, and it is like it's too inflated of a term because it's like what they call capitalism is crony capitalism or something else. It's not.
It's legalized.
It's too big of a snowball. It's dirty snowball.
Right. It's like, so it's a category mistake almost. It's like, you know, it's like lumping all the ills of society into a question of distribution of ownership is, first of all, overly simplistic. dovetailing on that is a univariate regression trying to answer a multivariate problem, and is confusing a quality with a subset of a quality sort of that they then extend to the whole. So it's like you say capitalism, that's capitalist and it's bad. Well, it's like, well, there's elements of capitalism in there for sure, but to say it is capitalism and therefore is bad, it's like, I'm almost arguing like the no true Scotsman fallacy here, but I'm taking it from a analytical perspective and not arguing, against myself. So the no true Scotsman is, well, that's not capitalism because no true Scotsman plays golf wearing breeches. They wear kilts, and he's wearing a breech, so he can't be Scottish. Right. Well, who are you to define a true Scotsman? But anyway, the point of it is, you get these people who inappropriately, it's a permutation of ideology too, but it's like they break complicated systems down into univariate causal mechanisms and then ascribe the negative outcomes of the entire system to that that one chunk, partial aspect of the system.
And what I think
over extrapolated out to the rest.
I think it's like this. It's like actually these people are they're feigning thought on the subject. They're not actually thinking about it, and they're not interested in doing the work to achieve. And it's like it satisfies their intuition, which is you're wrong, I'm right, and I have a what looks like an argument enough to me to satisfy my need to present some pseudo logical reasoning and
might well be logical.
Well, it's okay, but it goes like this. It goes like this is like, it allows me to vilify you and to maintain the illusion that I'm right and you're an evil demon guy or something like that. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Best Medicine Podcast with Bradley H. Werrell, D.O. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe below, either over there or over there. Also, if you're interested in a medical consultation with myself, there's also information below.